What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So Borderlands 3 was indeed announced for its release date and its exclusivity, timed exclusivity for the Epic Store. We're going to go over all of that because right now, PC gamers aren't very happy about this decision. There are a lot of things going on, whether it's downvotes or review bombing. It's all over the place right now, and it's not going to get much better if you don't like the Epic Store. It's going to be to the point where Steam's probably going to have to do something. We're going to go over all of that. We're also take a look at an accessory for the Switch that a third party has now introduced, like we've seen in the past so far, where third parties are trying to fix issues with the Switch that Nintendo has not fixed or added. A little addition that some of you guys might be excited about, but it is a starting point. We're going to go over all of that and more today. As always, guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit the like button. It really helps out. And you might as well subscribe as well, as we're heading towards the 300,000 mark for subs. It's pretty cool to see. We're actually going to start today with those Best Buy leaks. A bit of an update, I guess, for the Best Buy listings. If you remember, they listed things like A Link to the Past, which was weird, but Persona 5, not as weird, and Metroid Prime Trilogy, also not really as weird. Kind of expected for some of those. Well, those seem to have been removed from their Blue Core system. I believe it's called their POS. Their core POS, it seems to have removed from there. However, it still appears to be in the code for their website as people were kind of diving into that bit further. It's odd. It's interesting. I guess maybe they got a call. Maybe they realized, oh, we weren't supposed to post those. Maybe a company like Nintendo or Atlas or Sega, they're not happy that those got out there early, as of course a lot of them like to do their reveals and everything. And we know there is a reveal coming up for P5S, the domain that's up. So either way, I think at least Persona 5 was definitely pointing to it, and Metroid Prime Trilogy. The Link to the Past thing, I have no idea what that's about, but that could have actually been a mistake on Best Buy's part. They all could have technically. We'll see. They did rip them down, though. And if you're not already excited for E3 that's coming up in, what are we, like less than, what are we, 2 months away now or so? We're getting close, like two months and a week or something like that. Well, Nintendo's E3 site is actually live now, and we already know, of course, they're going to have a direct and everything, and it'll be this big thing. It'll be a lot of fun, though. The Treehouse, if you're going to E3, you'll be able to try all kinds of stuff out. Well, here's their website. It is now live. You can check it out for yourself. It's pretty easy URL. It's just e3.nintendo.com, but they're basically showing off June 11th to the 13th, tons of pictures from previous ones, and they're also going to do different tournaments, like Battle to be the Best, June 8th, so it looks like it's going to be pretty fun. They're going to have the Splatoon 2 World Championship, Smash Bros. Ultimate World Championship 2019, it's going to be E3, it's going to be fun, even though Sony's not going to be there technically. I still think with Microsoft, Nintendo, and all the third parties like Square Enix, for example, with we hope Final Fantasy VII Remake, and all kinds of surprises. It's still going to be a lot of fun. And just seeing a website for Nintendo with E3 is just starting to get some people kind of excited and hyped. Oh, and if you've been a fan of the arcade archives that keep showing up on the Switch, kind of the single purchase arcade style games that Nintendo it keeps putting out on the Switch. I believe Hamster is helping with that as well, of course, putting those out there. Well, we got another one, Donkey Kong 3. Now, I remember playing the Mario one. That was funny because that jumped to the top of the charts. It's Mario, makes sense. But yes, Donkey Kong 3 is actually showing up on the Switch. It's actually showing up tomorrow, April 5th. Yeah, so pretty quickly. It's going to be showing up $7.99, so it's a fairly cheap purchase and everything. And it's just Donkey Kong 3. So if you're a fan of Donkey Kong from the arcade, look into it. You'll be able to pick it up tomorrow for $8. Oh, and if you never tried out the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 Blackout mode, the Battle Royale mode, of course, there was one thing a lot of us said when it first came out. We said, well, this should have been free because, well, a lot of Battle Royale games are free, but of course Activision wanted to charge for it, so it was a part of the package. They didn't want to make a single player, I guess, so that became part of the package. I think that should have released free to play, and it should have been an ongoing thing like we see with Fortnite, with Seasons, Apex Legends, tremendously successful games, but Blackout's kind of fallen by the wayside a bit. Well, they're going to be making it free at least for April. Again, I think it should just go completely free to play, especially as Black Ops 4 becomes kind of behind the times when the next Call of Duty comes out, almost legacy, I guess. Blackout should just split off on its own, be its own Battle Royale, just be free, cosmetic purchases, all that stuff as we've seen before, maybe a battle pass of some kind. But it's at least free for this month, so I guess if you never got a chance to try it out, you can go download it on the PlayStation Store, Xbox Store, or whatnot, and try it out for yourself. It was pretty fun, but again, why was it behind that $6 paywall when all the other Battle Royale games that are coming out nowadays are just free? And guys, that's some of the quick news out of the way. Let's get into the bigger stuff. We're going to start with Borderlands 3 right away because it went over about as well as you would figure it would when they said that they're going to be exclusive to the Epic Store. Appears to be a 6-month exclusivity deal from what we've gathered, but it's not going to be on Steam right away, and that is rubbing PC gamers the wrong way because, of course, Epic keeps coming in and picking up these exclusives with some pretty nice deals when it comes to the cut that they get. 12% if you build an Unreal Engine, even better because they just waive royalty fees for sales through their Epic Store. So a lot of monetary gain there if you launch on the Epic Store. And then, of course, they're probably giving them even better deals or just outright buying them with money to get them there for a set amount of time, especially for that launch where a game is super hot out of the gate. Borderlands 3, a game that people have been waiting forever for, makes sense. And I'm going to tell you now, based on what Tim Sweeney said in this tweet, it's not going to be slowing down at all. They're just going to keep doing it. So it's going to be an interesting thing going forward, as whenever a PC game is announced or a version of a game going to PC is announced, you're going to be looking for that Epic Games logo that basically erases the Steam logo next to it, almost what Avengers style. So we got the movie coming up at the end of this month. So I'm thinking about that. But think about it that way, I guess. It kind of dissolving into ash, the Steam one logo next to it. So Borderlands showing up. It's going to be coming September 13th. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the Epic Store on PC. So not too surprising there. It was leaked out already, and then we kind of ran with it, and it all turned out to be correct, including that Epic Games Store exclusivity through the logo. So fans aren't taking it very well, as you would imagine if you see the trailers. Like to dislike ratio, it's come up almost 50% dislike to like, which is kind of an issue when you realize that this is Borderlands 3, something that people are extremely excited for, and you see a ton of dislikes like that. Yeah, it shows people aren't very happy with what's happening. And if you go to the Steam page for Borderlands 2, well, it's getting review bombed. And if you look at the comments, it's like Epic Game Store. Why did you do this? Sell out. All this stuff. It's like last I checked, it was nearly 500 negative reviews on Borderlands 2 yesterday. Just out of nowhere. Like a bunch of people played it, didn't like it all of a sudden, and review bombed it or just bombed it. That's kind of why some of these developers don't like user reviews, and that's kind of why some of them are happy that the Epic Game Store does not have them. I think user reviews do help with games, obviously, especially if there's an update that breaks it or removes a feature or something goes wrong or the developer tries to pull a fast one. You can pretty much communicate it in the reviews. This, however, is giving a game a bad review that has technically only something to do with it because it's by name and, of course, by the company. Technically, Borderlands 2 is not any different than it was, 3 years ago or a year ago or whatnot. All of a sudden now, though, review bomb. So apparently it is 2K that made this decision. Randy Pitchford made that very clear on Twitter. So 2K is the issue here when it comes to this. They made the decision, they're publishing it, and they're putting it out there. So I guess turn your attention to 2K, not necessarily Gearbox and Randy Pitchford at this point. 2K, and then, of course, Take-Two. Oh, there's also a cool little note with Borderlands 3, outside, of course, the release day we got and everything. Looks like Borderlands 3 is going to be more of a reveal May 1st with full gameplay and everything. It appears there might be some cross-platform playthrough co-op between the Xbox and the PC. We assume the Xbox and the PC mostly because the Xbox PlayStation 4 is a very, very special circumstance where they even talk to each other. So the fact that we could have some kind of cross-platform play with PC and the Xbox for co-op is pretty cool to see, and we'll find out, I assume, more about that and, of course, gameplay and other details with the game May 1st, so look out for that. As for the Epic Games Store and this exclusivity stuff, at some point, Steam, Valve, they're going to have to do something about it. That's the thing. We're to the point now where I'm sure eventually the Epic Games Store will get caught up with some features, basic features, right? I mean, there's not a lot going on there when it comes to, we just brought up things like user reviews, just as an example. I think even the look of the store needs some work just for discoverability and finding things, but eventually those will probably be ironed out, and if we get to the point where the features are fairly similar, message boards and everything, of course, too, well, what's the difference then? I mean, then Epic's going to go out there and buy more and more games. Steam, Valve, they make enough money, they'll eventually have to do something about it. And I think the best thing they can do is make their own games again. They made Artifact. Who really cares about Artifact at this point? Not even the creator of Magic the Gathering, who's brought in for that, cares about Artifact anymore. So that's kind of where we are. I'm not even saying that to make Half-Life 3. But Left 4 Dead? Make another Left 4 Dead. That seems pretty straightforward and it seems like something that wouldn't be too difficult to do and would get people super excited. But Valve, they're lackadaisical right now, right? They're kind of just rolling through. It's business as usual, and you're going to use the Steam launcher by default because, well, they deserve your money by default. So look towards Steam and Valve and ask what they can do at this point to stop Epic Games from pulling up all these exclusives and just annoying everyone. Next up, let's talk about the Famitsu weekly sales charts in Japan. I say Famitsu because Media Create appears to be out. No more with that, I guess. No more numbers there. I didn't even see rankings. Maybe they're behind. I don't know. But we did at least get some of the Famitsu sales numbers, and we're going to have to adjust slightly to this, which we will when we get to the console sales. But let's start with the top 10 that you're seeing here. Yoshi's Crafted World did debut at the top, number one, 50,000 units. That, of course, came out on Friday, so it actually did that in about 2 days. Pretty good there. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, 44,139, dropped off 71%. Makes sense for that game to drop a bit. Smash Bros. Ultimate at 3, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe at 4, Minecraft at 5, Winning Post 9 actually debuts on the PS4 with 12,000 units at 6, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at 7, Super Robot Wars at 8, Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee together, of course, one SKU at 9, and then Splatoon 2 at number 10. Moving over to the hardware, the Nintendo Switch is top 49,852. That's actually down a bit from last week. Seemed like most systems, actually all of them, were down. Even the old Xbox One was down 4 units. PlayStation 4, 23,863. The 3DS, 5,056. PlayStation Vita, as it slowly works its stock out, at 717. And the Xbox One at 92 units. Now, Famitsu has the Switch and the PlayStation 4 tracking a bit closer than we have with Media Create. As you can see, with the Switch at 7.85 million units, and then you have the PlayStation 4 at 7.99 million units, which is interesting because Media Create, I believe the PS4 was over 8 million, so we're actually a bit behind 8 million now with the PlayStation 4. But you can see the Switch, of course, catching up pretty quickly now. I'm thinking as we get closer into, more into the summer, we'll probably see the Switch pass it. Definitely as we get into the back half of the year, when releases really start hitting for the Switch, it's pretty much just going to sprint past the PS4 at that point in Japan. Next up, let's talk about PDP's new controller. They're introducing a Switch Pro controller replacement that will actually add a little headphone jack. A 3.5mm headphone jack will actually be a part of the controller, which is cool because the Switch Pro controller does not have one, and that probably has to do with issues between the wireless capabilities and Bluetooth and all this stuff. That seems to be the theory right now behind why there is no headphone jack on the Switch's Pro controller. I would like one to be there because especially things like game audio go through it, like the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 does it, but right now that's not the case, and of course being able to chat through it is pretty nice as well. So at this point, PDP is taking it upon themselves to try this out. Now, as you're seeing some images kind of go by here, this is actually a controller, I'm going to tell you now, that I'm actually working on a review for now, but it's not the one with this headphone jack. It's basically the same thing minus it. This is called the Face Off Deluxe Plus Audio Wired Controller. It is one that has these face plates that will interchange. They have a red and a purple, and you can actually see the headphone jack at the bottom there, and yes, it is wired. That's probably an issue for some people, and I would like to see a wireless version of this. I think it has to do with, again, the wireless technology that the Switch is using along with the controller and everything, and third parties, and I'm sure it's a mess to figure all that out. However, something I think might be doable, we'll see, is if you get the controller but it comes with like a dongle that you plug into the side of the dock, and then you have your controller and it plugs a headset in there on your controller at that point. They say it'll work to have in-game sound go through the headphones and everything, so if you're sitting away from your Switch and you don't want it to be going through your TV, you just want to listen to it there, which I have used at times for the Xbox when I'm playing online with something like Halo and I want to get the perfect sound as best I can in my ears. That actually works out really well in a pinch. And then you'd also, of course, have the ability to plug in a headset with a microphone and chat directly that way, rather than have to run some sort of connection from your headphone jack on your Switch up and around that. That, of course, makes so your Switch wouldn't possibly get knocked over or pulled over from that, I guess. But still, you're running something anyway from the side of the USB port on your dock at that point to your controller. I'd like to see a wireless option. I think it's possible if they still have to go through a little USB for that. But then, of course, you'd have to power the controller, AA's most likely. We just need Nintendo to come out with a way for us to have that headphone jack now that some games are just straight up supporting it, where you don't need that phone app. But I'll be taking a look at this. Actually, pre-order start in May. It should be coming out over the summer, and it's $24.99. So actually, it's a fair price. And our last bit of news, let's quickly touch on an interesting thing that's taking place right now in the Homebrew community, where the Team Executor websites seem to have just vanished. They're down. They've been down for about a week now, and it seemed like initially it was something where the server was being upgraded or they forgot to pay their bill or something, but it just seems like it was ripped down almost on purpose, like by someone else maybe, and you can actually check out for yourself that all of their websites are down, and it could be from possibly one of the theories of Nintendo maybe came after them, but it could have been, who knows at that point. I mean, really, they could have just had DMCA takedowns because, of course, they produce an item called the SX, I believe. It's like a little dongle that plugs into your Switch that will give you the ability to pirate games, essentially, play games off of like USB stick and everything, SD card and all of that. It's an easier way to modify your Switch, obviously, and run Homebrew, but that's not exactly what they lean towards with that. It's other things at that point. Most people buy them, know why they're buying it, because of course you can still activate the Homebrew and everything using like a paperclip or clips that you can buy online now, but they sell you basically like a modified firmware and everything that you can use. And that might be where there's a gray area that is worth possibly attacking from someone like Nintendo. Hard to say, but their website's just completely down. And until it comes back, there's going to be a lot of questions left unanswered, especially for people who maybe want support for the device they bought. But we'll see. I just want to give you guys a heads up that that is down right now, and it could be because of Nintendo, but we'll have to find out more as we go along, and hopefully some news breaks for that. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button. It really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it's that controller from PDP for the Switch that has the headphone jack. Is that something you're interested in? Or are you still annoyed that it's wired? If there is a wireless one, even if there's a little dongle they plug into the side of the USB port on your dock that does have a headphone jack and it's fairly priced, would you be interested in something like that? Or maybe you're fine with the wire, the USB cord, right? And you want this now because it's actually a fair price, $25. Let me know about that down below. And then are you someone who is not happy about Borderlands 3 being exclusive to the Epic Game Store outside of Steam? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.